recording.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
recording. We're alive.
Yes, so our show is gonna be about refugees in Iceland, and that's what we choose as subject to speak about. As someone, me being a refugee myself, and my arrival in Iceland, and all sort of things. So let's get to it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yay!
So, welcome to the TabBros, the podcast that talks about taboo stuff. I don't know if a refugee subject is taboo. I just read taboo off the TV. But we're going to talk about exactly what Saeed here said earlier, refugee situations on Iceland and what's happening right now and what's being done that could be done better. And we're going to go a little bit into later his experiences and stuff that he went through here when he came here. So yeah, what should we talk about first? What should be the first
So
topic?
let's get into first how the reaction of politician has been so far, like regarding refugees and what they have done so far and what they could do better, and then we go into the later part, that what I do. So if people want, we can as well as a reference, if people want to know more about the refugee situation, what's happening right now in Iceland. We just had an event with House School in Reykjavik, so you can just go to their Instagram page or Facebook page. You can have like an update on where I had a speech, and also there were a couple of others. There was a psychologist who was doing her PhD. Her name is Paula Cardenas. She was doing her PhD in psychology, and she did a research on 70 young refugees between 18 to 26 years old, and all the results are there, so you can go around it and see what young refugees goes through being in Iceland, and how much support they get from the government, and all sort of things. How the government is like a kind of careless regarding refugees, and they don't care about anything. You can see all the more information in Icelandic
all
there.
the slides
And that's very important for as a young people that we are in high school now to read those
exactly.
statistics.
Be informed. Know what's happening in the world.
Because
and
they
what you
are
can do.
young people like us,
Yeah.
and they are here in Iceland. Just the only difference is they're not Icelandic, and then
exactly.
they don't care about them. So that's so disgusting, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They're as well as young people, and they should have right like we do. They're living here, and they should be able to go to school and all sorts of things.
Exactly. It's like there are two groups that are forming: the people that are born here, that live here, that have more rights, kind of like hidden rights that the other group doesn't have.
Absolutely. So let's get into part. Like when I came in Iceland, the first thing when I was coming to airport, they stopped me, and I was 17 at the time when I arrived in Iceland. So they looked at my passport, and I was 17 years old, and still they took me inside, and there were 5 police officers, and they were laughing and making fun of me. They were like, "Hey, we got one more," and then they were and then they were making fun as a way they're going to send me back where I've come from, and I was really scared. I was basically shaking. And
They're they having a good time.
Yeah, they were just 5 of them laughing and chilling. There was some sort of a funny thing for them, They didn't realize how stressful that was for me. I literally took them seriously because I was like, what if they send me back home? Because I left home very young, and I went through a lot of difficulties to get here at first place.
Exactly. You were leaving home.
I was
at that age alone.
So yeah, and it was so scary when they did that. And then they put me they took me inside the police station, and they put me in this small a prison room for 3 hours, and I was just waiting basically for that 3 hours for them to pick me up and deport me back where I've come from. And I was literally crying in there in the room, just sitting in the corner. And then finally, somebody came in, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to send you somewhere." And then they took me out of the prison, and they sent me to Hafnarfjörður. And then when I came to Hafnarfjörður, there was this room they gave me in one of the places. So I went in there. In the room, there were blood stinks on the ground, and then there were the place was so dirty. I swear it was disgusting. it took me 4 hours to clean that place. I had 8 hours flight, 4 hours from Athens to Amsterdam, from Amsterdam here 4 hours. The 8 hours of flight, so I came like 3 hours spent in prison, and then came in the room and spent another 4 fucking hours to clean the place. Like, can you imagine? So, and then I went up there and asked the security guy if I had some sort of like a sheets and stuff. And I'm 17 years old and doing all this for myself. So, I asked the security guy if he can give me some sheets and stuff so I can sleep on. And then I took down there, and like I slept that night hungry, and I didn't have any money on me, and they didn't bring me any food or anything. So I slept hungry the night, and the day after, like, they came and they like, yeah, if you're hungry and stuff, and then somebody came in and they gave me some kind of card. There were like little money in it, and I went to the bonus and did some shopping. And I had no idea actually what was happening. And then I had this Icelandic friend which I met back in Greece. She came in, and then she kind of like brought some food and stuff and helped out.
Like you you said they gave you like a card so that you could go out and shop. Like, how much money did they like?
There were like 5,000 kroner in it.
Like for a week? Or?
Yeah, for 1 week.
Oh, that's nothing. Have you seen like the prices?
I know,
at the store
it's like it was like a 5,000 kroner, and then I just went there, and I was only able to like shop a couple of things. That was enough for me for one time, and then that's good. Like, I had this like a Icelandic friend like I met back in Greece. They were like working with organization called Hop Cafe. They were helping refugees.
Yeah.
So then she came in and she brought some stuff like some medicine and kind of like more stuff, like, you know, she knew the situation.
Like
So
the essentials.
essentials that I needed,
Yeah.
like logistics, and she kind of helped out. And yeah, I still they're my friends and really good friends. So, and then the life goes on. So and then I was in this camps being back and forth. Like, they kind of like sent me to Ausbro after 1 month. So I had like, when I came I was 17, but there were 10 days for me to become an adult. So I become 18 in 10 days. And then they sent me in Keflavik in the old US base camp in Ausbro. So we're staying there like for a month, and then it's like this place is really disgusting, like so isolated.
So
Like, you were not allowed to bring any visitors in.
so you're just isolated.
You're
Nobody,
just isolated.
You couldn't go out. Nobody could go in.
That's the point. Like, you're not allowed visitors, and you're not allowed to be out on certain times. So it's very restricted, and so
But like you were put there. So you were waiting for an apartment or some.
no, I was waiting to be transferred back to Reykjavik in some better place. Yeah. Actually, it's like to get into some kind of house or something.
Some housing.
Just to wait to see results of my asylum process, and then so I went. The first day to transfer me there, the roommate, like, I am the youngest guy in the whole fucking camp. So I am the only 18 years old in the entire camp. They're all like 35, 36 years old people that lives in that camp.
Do you know what the guy next above you in age was? Like, how old he was?
I mean, the guy was in the same room. They put me, like, there are 2 people sharing one room, and there are 4 people sharing one bathroom.
Right.
So they put me like in a room. The guy was like around 45 years old that I'm sharing the room with. So
that's like quite a bump in age.
Yeah, so they put me in there in that room, and then the same night, police came in like around 6 in the morning, took that guy that was sharing the room with me. They said they're going to deport him back home where he had came from. I think the guy was from Albania.
They came in like the middle of the night.
Yeah, they just came in the middle of the night, took it, and I'm so scared shit. I was like, what if I'm next?
I couldn't even imagine. Like,
yeah, so I have just turned 18, and this is the next day it was my birthday the night, and the next day I'm being transferred. And like, I haven't celebrated my birthday or nothing, so it just took me there.
No, like, how could you even? Like, terrifying.
So I was really scared when they took that guy. But then, and then it continued on. And in a week, there was a guy who committed suicide in that camp. And I don't know if we saw him taken to ambulance, he was covered in blood. And like, I'm not sure if he's dead or alive or whatever. And then like after a week, another guy committed suicide, but they stopped him. So you didn't, like, this thing never comes on the news because the government like pushes to them.
Yeah,
and
I've never even heard of it.
So no one is allowed to go in there, you know, that like no one is allowed to go to the place, like, because visitors are not allowed, no journalists, nothing. And so they just keep it silent as it is. Like, they never let the news get out of the camp. But if there is a news, if it goes on, I'm sure that there is people committing suicide there at least every month. but that you never heard of this kind of things. You will never hear.
Like you never hear it. Nobody
so
talks about it.
Yeah, because this place is so isolated, so that no one is allowed to go there, and they keep the refugees so in restriction, so like news never gets out. So kind of crazy, you know. It's like, and then they brought me back to Reykjavik like after 1 month, like a Red Cross pushing really hard because I was the youngest guy in the camp that I wasn't supposed to be there, and the Red Cross pushing hard, pushing through, and they brought me back in Reykjavik. And then they were putting us into a place. There is a place in Skaven, so there was a camp actually. So they put 80 people there, and then there are 3 bathrooms in the whole fucking building.
Like 80 people.
80
How many
people.
people were sharing a room?
So there are 2 people sharing 1 room.
Alright.
And then there's in the middle of the building there are 3 bathrooms. So in the morning for everybody. In the morning you put your towel on and go wait for a line. It takes 1 hour to be, or sometimes around 2 hours to be able to get in the line
So like
to take shower.
Yourself. Even if you don't have to go to the bathroom, you might in 1 hour.
You might in 1 hour. So
Horrible.
like yeah. So these are not like human conditions, you know.
No,
Like this is not how you treat a human being. They like
especially somebody who's fleeing their country because of danger
and war and all sorts of things, and
who's just seeking refuge.
They could do so much better. They could close that camp and they could create some newer camp somewhere near Reykjavik where they could keep like people have their own room,
Exactly,
at least
and
stay in
not
a
keep
better
them
condition,
isolated.
not keep them isolated. And I mean the point is, you only hide something if you're scared of it, you know.
Exactly.
You never hide something. If why should I be scared of something that people to hear about it if I know that thing is bad? Because we only we have secrets, all of us. We keep those secrets because that's bad. We don't tell anyone. We just keep it hidden. That's the kind of like a secret government doesn't want people to know, because they know if the news goes out to the people can like protest and they could stand up against them. But they don't want these things to be revealed.
Exactly.
And they just want to keep it in the restrictions and as restricted as possible.
Keep it on the down low.
Yeah,
Then
so
people
that
don't know about it, and then they can't
absolutely.
object them.
And
you know?
so that's how it is. So like after they bring me back in Reykjavik, so I was kind of able to. I went out looking for a job, but like a couple of places didn't hire me because I didn't have a kentala. But there was this one place, Tíatlaugin, Österstræti. That's the place. Yes. The manager there was super nice. So she was like, Saeed, like just come in. I'm just gonna give you a job right away. Because she saw me, like I told her I was really devastated. I told her all the situation that I was in. She was like, yeah, she was like, sure, like come. And then there was this one another Arab guy working there, and she called him, and I was like, we're going to hire him, and he was happy as well. So then they kind of like give me a contract. I went to the immigration office, and like Utlendigestofnun is one of the like the worst departments in my entire life that I've seen.
So is that where you go to get a?
Yes, that's where you get a residency.
Yeah.
So I went to apply for application, and I paid like a 15,000 kroner to apply for this residency that's temporary for 6 months, so that allows you to work. That took 2.5 months to get approved, which in the law it says it should take like 3 weeks. The
Like
application to get 2.5 fucking months to get this thing approved from them.
Bro.
So I was literally calling the office like every Thursday. The person that was taking on my application was supposed to be there every Thursday to talk to. So I was calling her, and then they would say, hey, she's on vacation. She's had a family problem, went there. She had this. Like, bro, I haven't been getting paid for a whole 2 months, and you're telling me that she's on some family problem, or she's not in the office right now. And and then
your livelihood's at stake there.
So they don't care. They don't give a shit. Like they treat refugees as like this piece, like a trash bag that grabbed it and put it somewhere, and nobody cares anymore about it.
It's just like an object. It's not like a living thing that.
Absolutely. They don't give a flying rock about what's happening to refugees' life.
Bro.
So. Yeah, and then I was literally going there every Thursday to find this person, and I never was able to get it. One day, so I went to Vinnumálastofunin. I talked to them about my application. They said yes, immigration had sent my application, they have approved it, and they have sent it back within 2 days back to the.
Within 2 days.
Yes, back to the immigration office. So I went to the immigration office, and there's this Icelandic lady standing on the reception, and I tried to talk to her. She was like, your application was sent to Vinnumálastofunin, and it hasn't come back. So so you have to go back. I was like, I'm just coming back from the fucking Windwall Storm, and they said they approved and sent it here. How are you sending me back? I was like, okay, give me a second to check in the system. Before she checks the system, she's sending me to the Windwall Storm.
She hadn't even checked.
She hadn't even checked the system. She told me that go back to the Windwall Storm, and I know Windwall Storm has sent it, and I told her that Windwall told me that they have approved and sent it here, and then she went to the system. Oh, I'm sorry that's here and blah blah.
Oh my god, that's insane, bro.
So imagine I didn't have a car at the time, so I had to go walk for 30 minutes to the bus station to take the bus. Like, you know how this try to works in Iceland, and then it take this right back to immigration office. It would take me whole day to be able to go back and forth.
The commute here is so long. So being in that living situation with the money that you receive, which is basically nothing, and having to waste an entire day just to
go back
be
and
able
forth.
to live here, going back and forth. That.
So yeah, and now I'm
it's way too hard.
So then after I got asylum granted, so I was working in theater for a year, and then here it comes the part. So I went to school. I went to Hamrahilis. Yes. So I wanted to get in that school. So I had a meeting with the one of the head of the departments there that deals with the foreign students. So I spoke to her and I told her I want to come to school. She was like, okay, first there is a lot of waiting list, so I can put you in there, but I need this document from your home country, the school that you did your schooling. I told her that I am a refugee. I am here for a reason. My school was bombed and completely burnt down, destroyed. The school doesn't exist anymore. My school doesn't exist anymore, so it was completely destroyed.
No documents.
No documents, so nothing. So I told her, if there is no school exists, how am I supposed to bring you any kind of document? So it's like, no, this is the law, this is blah blah. I know, I respect your law, but the point is, I am not a normal student. You're expecting to be in a position where you put me in the level of other students where I should go according to the law, because I am not a student. I didn't came in this country according to the law, because I came asked for asylum here, and I'm a refugee. I'm seeking refuge here. I'm not like a normal European student just came from the other country and trying to go to high school in Iceland. I told her, I explained it means nothing to them. They don't understand a single word that comes out of your mouth. They're like, no, this is a law and that's it.
They just repeat what they say.
Yeah, they refused my right to education. They didn't let me into school. And then I went back to work. So I was like, okay, I gave up. I was like, maybe I am not meant to finish school. I didn't know about the other high schools. The only high school I knew about was because when I granted asylum, the government just left me by myself. They didn't tell me about I had any rights. They didn't tell me I could go to school. They didn't give me any information.
They didn't give you any information about schools
nothing.
Or job applications?
Nothing. They just I was working and I just got out of the camp. I ran to room. Nobody ever called me to tell me I had certain rights here, that I could go to school. I could no information, nothing. Just left by myself. So I had to find my own ways. So I had some friends that were from Hamrahilis, and they kind of said yeah, you can go and apply for Hamrahilis. And I went to Hamrahilis, and they refused. And then I was like, okay, maybe they don't want me to go to high school. And then I just went back working. And if I would go to Hamrahilis at the date I had applied, I should have graduated already from high school. But I'm still in school just because.
So
and then I went back, and then after 1 year I met the student from Hawaii that they were helping refugees to get into schools. I had a meeting with them, and then they introduced me some other high schools, and they took me to FA, Ormole, Fjölebrot with Ormole. We went there, and they were like, yeah, sure. They took me in. So they kind of gave me, and then I went to FA for a year, and then I transferred to Borgo.
Oh, that's nice. So there's students in Hawaii, some
helps refugees.
Refugees.
It's actually called a refugees student cafe. They're kind of a board of some sort of international UTL of sort of thing, from international union, student union, part of it here in Iceland, and they're Icelandic students who are part of that union. So they're helping out the refugees and immigrants to get into schools.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, those are really good guys, and they kind of got me into school. And they got me into the FAO, and then from FAO, after 1 year, 2 semesters, I transferred to Borgo because I was interested in filmmaking, and we didn't have the right equipment in Borgo to do film. So yeah, and then here I am in Borgo now. I'm working part-time job and doing my school. So I'm quite happy with the stuff here, with the teachers and stuff. But the point is, it's just I could have already been graduating
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
like
exactly.
high
You,
school.
you could
It's
be
like,
graduating now
so
or
if
already.
they had let me that year, and that's the point. Like the young refugees got no information or nothing. They just grant asylum and they just completely disappeared into like a. They're
Some
working
never
somewhere
even
and they have
finished
no
their
idea that
education.
they have no idea. That's why like in last 20 years like Iceland had a lot of like application of refugees. There are very small percentage that went to high school and graduated. Like 80% of the students they never go to high school because they never know about it. Like they could really go to school.
Yeah, exactly. Like
So-
imagine if there was like the system was built that way that refugees that come here get like the treatment that the students and how we are giving out.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
the government did
That would-
that system,
that would have been super
provided
cool.
the information for
At
the
least,
schools
yeah.
and jobs and
They could just tell you like it doesn't take more than an hour. They just sit with you and give you the information. It's like, hey Saeed, I mean, after your grant asylum, these are the rights you have. You can go
Yeah.
to school. You can go to you can do this. I mean, and these are the right places where you can contact. I mean, you're just left in a society. You don't know anybody. You don't know Icelandic. You're just by yourself and do everything yourself. And now the funny thing is, like, they're bringing like a 1,500 Ukrainian refugees in Iceland. And most of them they're like a young people, you know, according to
Yeah.
like a Ukrainian new law who was like 18 years old, they cannot leave the country, they have to fight for the country. But the point is like they're all younger than 18 people leaving the country. So Iceland is bringing 1,500 people and they're giving them like this residency that they could live here but they cannot work.
yeah, exactly. I
Like,
saw
are
on
you
the
kidding
news.
me?
They were going to put them all together in this one residency that where they learn just to live, stay. It's like
That's absolutely crazy. Like
isolating them from
like-
the other communities.
this 1,500 people, they most probably want to work.
Yeah.
There are people who want to go to school. There are people who want to do things in this society, but
It's like what are they supposed to do there? They're just
like,
put there to stay and do nothing. It's
and that's crazy. Like we know Iceland is like one of the most isolated countries,
Yeah.
especially during the winter.
yeah.
People cannot do
exactly.
anything. Like, you know, it's just
Like-
like you are staying more inside. But in the case, imagine if you don't have any activity, you go crazy. Like anyway, we have really like a highest rate of suicide in Iceland. Like our natives itself, like they commit suicide. Like I have a couple of friends that they had like a nephews and nieces that committed suicide. But at the point when you are keeping these people, like they all go like a suicidal, like because of depression. Like you can't just like myself. I really had like a suicidal thoughts when I left in like in Skaven here.
Yeah.
Because I had no activities, nothing, and I was just in the camp like 24/7, and the place was really
Sure.
small, and they were like sometimes it take like hour to go to just to the bathroom and stuff. Like you kind of like driving, it
Exactly,
was
it's
driving
like
me
the same
crazy.
day over and
It's like
over
you
again.
cannot just do this to everybody, you know. Like what could do in this kind, like what people, like so many people, like a normal people and a student like us, like they think what can we do about it, and like so many, or they do not take like seriously this problem. This is really a serious issue that for the young people to stand for other young people. Like if you go through the University of Reykjavik, the research that was done, that between like these people were all between like 18 to 24 years old, so they were all like a young people. The research were done like 80% of them dealing with like a PTSD and all sorts of like a trauma and a kind of like a
80%.
80%. So if you think through this research, like see the statistics, that kind of like as young people we should stand with them. It's fine, they're not Icelanders, you know,
They're human.
they're human beings
Yeah.
and they have rights, and we should not sit silent in the corner and let them do whatever they want, because we're the young people, and if we go out there as a normal people protest against the government, things will change. If we protest as a native, we stand and we push the government people, and they have to change.
Actually, they hold them responsible.
Yeah, we have to hold them responsible. The people have the power, and if we raise our voice, they cannot silence us. If we unite, we say, yeah, we should do this, they cannot silence, because everyone should be able to have a right to education, you know,
Exactly.
and a right to work. Like why shouldn't I have like a right to make myself like a self-sustainable? Why should I depend on the government for 5,000 kroner a week?
Because you live in a different country. Didn't
Just-
you hear them?
So that is like a crazy. Like while I have fucking normal feet like you do, normal hands, I can work for myself and earn and
Yeah.
have my own place and better life conditions.
Yeah,
Then I'm just
exactly.
expecting 5,000 from a government to pay me every week. Like, take your money. I don't need it.
Yeah, have you seen gas prices? They're fucking, bruh.
So it's
Food costs.
in a way
You
they
can't live on 5,000 a week. That's just.
they
you're
have
paying for
to,
everything
yeah
here.
there must be a mutual way to make this work, And if we as a people do not stand and raise our voice, I don't think so nothing is going to change, and they're going to keep doing the same, because this is in their benefits, and they're using like the tax money that we gave them for this causes, which that money could be used in a different ways, like build our streets like a better condition for hospitals and stuff. Why did, and let those people work?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, they're just, the amount of like a corruption in the government, if we don't stand, is gonna like it someday affect ourselves, like even as a native. And the point is like today we have the power as people, and we shouldn't like stay silent and just watch what's happening in front of our eyes. Maybe that's not happening to your relatives, that's like because that doesn't concern you, but in the point it's happening to someone in this country, that you are seeing it. And trust me, history will remember these days and will remember this generation. We're the young generation today. Like look, it's just maybe we're on a small island, not a lot of things affect us, but if you look globally, look like what's happening. Like the young generation is disappearing. Like young girls are being kidnapped, like being prostituted on, being so many things going on around the world. Like those people are from our generation. If we do not like stand for them, those who cannot raise their voice, so that's gonna keep happening to everybody.
Exactly. We gotta leave the world better than we found it.
Yes, so. Absolutely. And this is our time, and we as a young people should make this a better place for everybody to live. And if we don't do something about it, and the next generation will suffer, which is going to come, like your children is going to suffer from the disaster you left behind. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Great. What do we have? Any more topics here?
I believe we have some references.
Yeah, we have Inlendingar. That is a podcast of about two Icelandic women that were born here, but were raised in different countries. They were raised in.
One was raised in England, the other was raised in America. So they just recently moved back here in town, and they're going into places, and people ask them where they're from, and they say they're from Iceland, and they really look at them weirdly because they don't speak Icelandic, and like it's kind of.
Yeah, so it's about their experiences about being Icelandic, but not feeling the cultural ties, and not feeling like they're Icelandic.
True, and also
other Iceland, how they perceive them. Yeah,
we have also the other podcast that does a lot of like traveling experiences.
Yeah, it's called the Ferda podcast. They travel around
different countries,
and talk about their experiences, the different cultures, and what impacts them, and what they like and dislike, and it's just their experiences about traveling. And those two podcasts are great. You should definitely check them out.
Absolutely.
So you were interviewed.
I was into both.
You were interviewed by both podcasts.
Yeah, so I have been interviewed by both of them. Like that's really interesting that I talk about the situation of Afghanistan with Americans, how the Americans came first. If you're interested in politics, you can listen to that, as well as and my experience throughout my journey from Afghanistan to Iceland. I talk in the Inlandingar. If you want to listen to that as well, that's like you can get to know more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So I think we've talked about all the topics.
Yes.
Should we just say it? Call it quits then?
Yes.
Call it quits. That's bad wording.
So we're at our end, so it's great to be here.
So thanks for joining in, listening to our civil chat about how the immigration system could be bettered here in Iceland, and listening to Saeed's story and his experiences. So I don't know how to finish a podcast. Let's just say it like that. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Yo.